All right, let's go ahead and get started. What's going on, party people? Thanks for jumping on the channel. It's been some time. But yeah, glad to be back in the space where I am the best at what I do. So again, those of you who may be dropping by this for the first time, thank you for coming by. Feel free to hit the like button. Definitely, more importantly than anything, I really want to engage with you in the comments. So definitely do that. Drop a comment. You know what I'm saying? If you agree, if you disagree, if you have any better techniques or strategies that are going to do what we're talking about today, help you grow a YouTube channel. All right, so let's just get right into it. I don't want to waste a lot of time. Like I said, it's been some time since I've done a live. It's been some time since I've done a video. Doesn't matter. Show up like you've been here before. Motivated Mind says both audio and visual are good. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, whoever you are. So thanks for jumping in. So again, I posted something on Facebook today talking about what's stopping you. As a matter of fact, I don't want to get it wrong. I'll tell you exactly what I said. I asked the questions roughly about 3 hours ago. I said, what's stopping you from starting a YouTube channel, a podcast, live streaming, or vlogging, right? And I got several different responses. Most of the responses centered around, fear of being on camera, so being camera shy. Couple of the responses were about not knowing exactly where to start. All right, a couple of things maybe about the quality, which may revolve around equipment. Some things about personality. Some things about time management. And so there are 1,000 different videos that you can clearly watch on YouTube surrounding this topic. I'm just going to give you my 2 cents. Like I said, I don't necessarily want this to be a long video, but I do want it to be something that can reflect a lot of the conversations that we are currently having. All right. So like I said, if you have any questions, definitely drop those in the chat. I will see them. I will address them. Whole purpose of doing this is to engage. Again, share this with somebody you know. Smash that like button. Let them know that Walt is back. Let them know that Walt is live right now. You know what I'm saying? And we're having a conversation. So number one, the first thing that I want you to consider is forget about the tech. I think number one, cameras, audio, lights, although those things are important, a lot of those things are overhyped. And what I mean by that is that's typically the number one reason where I see on my videos, I see on other people's videos that I follow, so many people allow the tech to hold them back and keep them from creating. So everybody wants to know, well, hey, what's the best camera? Because I'm looking to start a YouTube channel. Well, what's the best mic? Because I'm looking to start a podcast. Well, what's the best light? Because I'm looking to do this. And so you see this continued, everybody's so invested, you know what I'm saying, in tech or whatever, but like people get so enamored with the tech that they never get started. And so that's why, number one, if you're trying to start, and I know we're approaching 2023, but I don't want you to wait until 2023. I want you to go ahead and hit that record button right now in 2022. If your goal is to start, I want you to get started, and I want you to get started now. But the first thing I want you to do is forget about the tech. Put the tech to the side. Every one of you have a phone. Everybody has a phone. I have the iPhone 14 Pro. Pro Max is too big, so I only got the Pro. Whatever you have, 12, 13, 11, it doesn't matter. You literally have everything you need just to get started. So forget about the tech, put that to the side. That's number one. We'll get to that later. Number two, like I said, we're going to jump right into it. I don't want this to necessarily be a long video. The second thing that I want you to actually focus on is the thing that I always say in my introductions. I always tell you, create, inspire, and solve. Show you how to build a better brand, grow your business. And that last part, help you create a community around the things that you're most passionate about. So again, when people say they don't know where to start or they don't know what to talk about, I always ask them, well, what are you passionate about? What are some of the conversations that you're already having? What do you do? What are your hobbies? These are the things that give way or give you opportunity to create content. The thing is, you don't understand, you're already creating content. When you're having conversation, that is content. Now, granted, some of those conversations, they may need to be publicized. And then some of those conversations, they may not. It just typically depends on what your interests are. But I know specifically, we talk about building businesses, entrepreneurship, building brands, and I love talking about those things and in the context of cameras, audio gear, lights, and different types of tech. But again, what are you passionate about? What is it that you spend all day doing anyway? And those are the spaces where you really want to find yourself that is going to kind of give you a baseline or a platform or a foundation for the things that you need to create. The reason I say that is because you're going to get to a point where you're going to start to get tired. You're going to burn out. It's going to happen. You're human. And so you have to be able to be invested in the things that you're creating. You have to be invested in the things that you are talking about. All right. So again, what is it that you're passionate about? What are your hobbies? Some of the people that I answered the question for, I'm like, hey, they specifically work in the beauty industry, okay? You work in the beauty industry. You do a lot with hair. You do a lot with makeup. For all of my ladies, my females, a lot of people will say that's an oversaturated niche or niche. I disagree. I think it's an opportunity for you to even niche down even further and find where there's a space for you. Again, this is a community that already exists, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is put your own spokes in the wheel, and you do it the way that you want to do it. So again, a lot of times we just try to come up with these great new things. No, success is founded on problems that already exist. All right. If you don't remember anything else that I said today, I want you to remember that success is founded or rather discovered or achieved based on problems that already exist. You need to find a problem or something or a need, and you just need to be able to address it. We have Burger King, McDonald's, Arby's, KFC, Bojangles, all Cookout, all these different type of places, and they usually sell the same thing. But again, they have a particular audience. People that go to Burger King don't like McDonald's. People that go to Five Guys don't like McDonald's or Burger King. You know what I'm saying? Serve your audience. What's going on, David Harvey? Glad to see you. Serve your audience. You know what I'm saying? The way that you need to actually serve your audience. Again, one of the things my Ecamm fam, they always hear me say, in a world of Whoppers, what makes you a Big Mac? What is your special sauce? What makes you stand out? Again, so what is it that you're passionate about? So again, number one, we talked about forget about the tech. Put the tech to the side, all right? Don't let that stop you. Number two, what are you passionate about? All right, that's number two. Number three, where is your audience? You have to figure that out. Where is your audience, all right? When you're talking about building a community around the things that you're most passionate about, where is your audience at? Where are they located? You got to find them. And the reason I say that, because again, I'm talking about starting a YouTube channel, and people may say, well, isn't your audience on YouTube? For a lot of us, that's not the case. My audience, when I do random lives, I do random lives on Facebook. But again, I understand that the whole point of me doing this is talking about building a YouTube channel. So what I did is I had to get a little creative. Thanks to the power of multi-streaming and Ecamm Live, what I was able to do is virtually take this presentation, take the audio, push it out to another account for Ecamm that's connected to my Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook, you will see that I'm live right now. But all you see is a thumbnail that says, I am live on YouTube. Click the link in the description. So what I'm doing is called traffic lead generation. I'm forcing you, in order for you to get the full experience of what I'm talking about, I'm forcing you to leave there and go over here. I have to make it worthwhile, not just for myself, but for you as well. So I got to leave some breadcrumbs to say, hey, I'm on YouTube. So again, I'm not just going to put up the thumbnail and just allow you to sit there, and just watch that and not hear anything, but you can still hear it. So it's almost kind of like a podcast type thing, because the fact of the matter is that some people just don't have time to watch. But again, there may be somebody that's on Facebook right now, and all they can see is that thumbnail, and they're just listening to me talk. Power of Ecamm, I'm able to push all of that out. That goes with the tech. We can talk about those things later. And they're watching, but that I know that audience respects that. I have not built up the chops yet, nor do I have the amount of subscribers on YouTube where I can just do random pop-ups. YouTube requires me to be more strategic. So I understand my audience. I understand my audience. In the branding world, we do what are called user personas or profiles. So we understand it's bigger than just saying your target audience. It's like, no, what are the age demographics? Where do they shop? Where do they live? What kind of music do they listen to? You know, what is their education level? You know, how much money? What is the median household income? These are the weeds and the nitty gritty that you get into when trying to understand your audience and where they are located. If I understand where they are located, I understand how to speak their language. So I have to look at Facebook like it's a different country. If I'm leaving the United States and I'm flying outside of the country and I'm going to quote unquote Facebook, let's just say France, no pun intended, but if I'm going to France, I did take French, but I may have to, you know, refresh myself, you know, on French. Let's say if I was going to somewhere in Zimbabwe, I don't speak the language that they speak in Zimbabwe. Again, I have to learn the language of that country. So again, and you starting whatever journey you're going to start, if you're going to start a YouTube journey and your audience is not on YouTube, you first have to learn the language of where they reside. So you locate them. So if they're on Facebook, learn to speak the language of that platform. If they're on Instagram, learn to speak the language of that platform. That leads me to number 4, because once you understand where your audience is located, you have to now make a decision on the type, and when I say type, kind of format, but the type of content that you're going to create. Real quick, just looking at the comments, Gutter Sean, you know what I'm saying? Your advice is solid. Appreciate you stopping by. I really appreciate that. Elaine Smith, hello, beautiful people. Thank you again for jumping in. Like I say, y'all, feel free to jump in the comments. Let me know what you think, other strategies, whatever you're going on. So again, number 1, we said forget about, if you're just coming in, we're talking about starting a YouTube channel and what's holding you back. So number 1, we talked about putting the tech to the side, forget about the tech, all right? Number 2, I asked you, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? What drives you? What conversations are you already having that you're just not capturing on camera? Number 3, I talked about locating your audience. Where is your audience currently located? All right. And how do you give them breadcrumbs? How do you entice them to leave where they are? Learning the language of the platform that they're on and bring them over here to YouTube. Number 4, what type of content are you going to create? Are we talking about talking head videos, kind of like I'm doing now? Are you going to be doing tutorials? Are you going to be doing how-tos? Are you going to be doing product reviews? Are you going to be doing shorts? There's a lot of different opportunities. So again, you have to come up with a content strategy. You have to come up with a content strategy. I'm sorry, Eileen. I'm not sure what I said the first time, but you have to come up with a content strategy. And part of that content strategy is understanding what type of content am I going to create. So again, if your audience is on Facebook, they're probably used to seeing a video that's in landscape mode that looks like this, or if they spend a lot of time in the stories, or if they spend a lot of time on Facebook Reels. I don't even know what they call it on Facebook. We just gonna call it Reels. It just depends. But Facebook kind of has a plethora of the type of content that you can look at. Instagram and TikTok, everything is pretty much Reels. Yes, you can still make posts. Yes, you can still make, you know, regular landscape type vid, but I argue to say 90% of the content that I come across is in a vertical format. It's Reels. So again, if my audience is used to speaking the language of Reels, what kind of language is that? That means that number 1 is short form content, all right? That means that number 2, the presentation is very concentrated. So the thing about Reels is that when you go to a portrait mode vertical format, you remove all distractions and now everything becomes focused. How does that carry over? Once number 3, I identify where they are and I identify the language that they speak. Number 4, if I'm starting my YouTube journey and I want to bring them over to YouTube, I now understand, number 1, what the temperature is going to be like. So I understand what their temperament is. So I can't say, hey, follow me on YouTube, and I'm used to giving you 30 to 60 seconds worth of content, and now I'm trying to throw a 10-minute video at you. It has to be worth you coming over here. Now, as we look at things like monetization and all those different types of things, we understand that typically on average, 5 to 7 minutes is kind of a sweet spot. It just depends on your niche. 5 to 7 minutes is kind of a sweet spot. I argue, do whatever floats your boat. For me, 10 minutes is a sweet spot for me. I don't have too many videos that's under 10 minutes because I love giving context. My audience understands that, and they look for that. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. Once you get into the weeds and you look at analytics and all those different types of things, it will show you that breakdown. But specifically for myself, again, I understand that language. So if you're used to just giving 30 to 60 seconds of content, if it's a short attention span, if it's high entertainment or high focus, once you get on YouTube, that needs to carry over. You need to carry so that language, when you come back home, when you come back to the States, you need to be speaking some of that same language. People should come back and say, you must have went to France, or you must have went on vacation to Mexico, because you're speaking a lot of Spanish. You're speaking the language of that platform, and that's how you're going to marry the two together. And the reason I say that is because you will get later and you will see there's an opportunity for you to kind of break up the content and start shooting out what we call macro to micro. So you'll take large pieces of content, long form pieces of content, breaking up into smaller pieces of content, and then shoot that out in the bite-sized chunks so it's easier for people to digest. But again, I just want to run through that one more time. Number one, forget about the tech. Forget about the tech. All right, forget about the tech. We'll have conversations about tech, but forget about the tech. Number two, what is it that you are passionate about? What is it that you are passionate about? People always say, what is it that you would do for free? I want you to get out of that mindset, because it's never free, because it costs time. Time is a currency. I want you to start looking at it like it's a currency. So it's not about what you would do for free. It's about what are you passionate about? What are you willing to exchange your time for that could potentially pay dividends later on in the long run? Because again, once you get over here to monetization and all these different types of things, those are going to be some of the things that are going to encourage you when you start to see your hard work paying off. All right. So number one, forget about the tech. Number two, what are you passionate about? Number three, where is your audience located? What is the language of your audience? What do they speak? That's one of the biggest things in branding. I think that's probably the most important thing that you should remember out of today's conversation. You know, number three, what language does your audience speak? Where are they located? Don't be afraid to travel to where your audience is. We always want to say, come here, come here, come here. It's gimme, 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 gimme. You know, take. But what is your give? How do you lead them from wherever they are to come over with your journey? Some people are lucky. Some people just happen to be passionate about things that the whole world is searching for, and they go viral overnight. That's an abnormality. That's not a normal case. And number four, once you understand the language that your audience speaks, you develop your content strategy or your plan for YouTube around that. You plan it around that. So again, if you have an audience that again is not in shape, they are not used to work. They used to going, hey, I'm gonna get my 30 minutes in a day, and that's good. You can't come at them talking about, let's go do this 26-mile marathon. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, you know, and people will tune out. People will